Hey, I just want to orient you on this week and give you an idea where we're going as we get ready for Essay 3. We started off this segment with the videos and reading the section of And the Band Played On that really focuses on how the epidemiologist got close to proving, or at least becoming quite sure, that whatever was causing AIDS was something that was sexually transmitted. And so that's where we are with the movie, which actually focuses entirely on Gate and Dugas, but also gives you ideas about what people thought about the virus then, what they knew. And you've got some really great information from people at the CDC and some of the key doctors. So this is really important. And also, the movie focuses on how Schultz really got Gate and Dugas wrong. There's no way he was patient zero, and we have a lot of material for that. And according to his friends, it's also very likely that he wasn't the monster Schultz created him to be. So that was basically context, background context. I want you to use all these sources. They're very good. But I wanted to, start off with a broad understanding. And then we get more into the weeds with week 5. I described the essay. I have a couple of passages I want you to look at. I think it's between McKay and Schultz. I've got some period pieces. What would Gayton think if he read the newspapers in 1982? Keep in mind, this is around the time Schultz figures he knows he's infecting people with a deadly virus, yet the press at that time, typically the gay press here, has no clear answer as to what's causing AIDS. So somehow Schultz manages to give Gayton knowledge and evil at a time when there was a great deal of uncertainty about the disease. I'm getting to know Dugas through Schultz. I lifted those 25 scenes that mention him from the book. Very important to look at that. Getting between Dugas and McKay. And again, I haven't had time to read these yet, but we'll get to it. Practice paragraphing. So trying to get you used to how to shape it. And if you haven't done those assignments, go back. And then finally, we move into this week, at the end of which, Sunday, November 3rd, the essay is due. And now we have the challenge of the essay, another discussion on Dugas, 1982. And this is how Schultz viewed AIDS in 1982. At a time when Schultz, you'll read the article, had really no clear idea of what was causing AIDS. Somehow a few months later, Dugas knows he's infecting people with a deadly virus. So why does Dugas know all this when Schultz doesn't? And I think there's also a good line from McKay, which basically says Schultz took a 1986-7 understanding of the disease and put that in Gate and Dugas' mind in 1982 and 3 when people really did not understand what was causing AIDS. Or, quite simply, Schultz has Dugas aware of a lethal virus long before anybody else knew. So, and then another, how Dugas may have seen it. Another one, 1983. This is around the time that Dugas actually was in that video clip at the Vancouver AIDS Forum. And so you have a lot of uncertainty then. And when he speaks at the forum, you remember that from the movie, he's also quite uncertain. And then a review of Dugas' essay, and then I'll put the essay assignment right here. I have just kind of a list here. Dugas cleared in 2016. I don't want to, and this would be a great article to use because it's from Nature, reliable source, and it explains how through DNA analysis of Dugas' blood samples that he gave to the CDC in 1982, they pretty much show that he was infected about the mid-70s, long after thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans were already infected. So there's no way he's patient zero. And that's also in the movie as well that we watched a few weeks ago. If you want to search, it's not that tough. All you have to do is go into a news bank and put in the dates. I think I used 2016 just a short period of time there. It was about October 16. Dugas is cleared. You have any of these 8 articles that explain what I just did, how there's no way he was patient zero. And if you want to go a little bit further back, I would use Nexus Uni is pretty good in the article databases. AIDS blamed on one man. But no, pardon me, that's not really good. So what I did do though is I went into, oh, here's Nexus Uni, my apologies. And now we have all of how a Schultz story just soaked through the media, and everybody was sure that Gaten Dugas was the guy who started the disease. So I just want to give you an idea on the scope of the information we have. We have all the scenes about Gaten Dugas in Schultz's book, and that's going to be kind of the backbone of the paper, how Schultz portrayed him. And then we have all the contrasting portrayals of Gaten Dugas from the movie Killing Patient Zero, as well as from the many articles I brought into the class. And so it should be pretty easy to get enough material to write a really robust kind of compare and contrast where you talk about how Schultz presented his personality, his character, and maybe from the movie, how his friends did. Or from the McKay article, he's got some really great scenes of Gaten Dugas 1983 or so in Canada. And he's just a much more complex and more kind character. And then the next subject about what was his role in the epidemic, Schultz is absolutely certain. He, is patient zero, or at least the one who brought the virus from between the East and West Coasts. And you have ample information from the movie, from the articles from 2016 when they debunk the patient zero myth to show that Schultz really got that wrong. The other one about Dugas being the evil, menacing villain the Jack the Ripper, as Schultz calls him in McKay, who deliberately infected other people. Well, I put in several articles from that period to show you that there was a heck of a lot of uncertainty, and there's really no reason to believe that Gaten Dugas was ahead of the time and knew exactly that he was spreading a virus years before the virus was discovered. And then finally, I add an optional idea if you want to use that instead of the other 3 prompts about whether or not Schultz honestly believed Dugas was the evil person. You'll have ample information in McKay, and also some scenes in the movie Killing Patient Zero, which pretty much show, I believe, that he wasn't just cynically doing this to get publicity, but he somehow wrongheadedly was fully convinced that Gaten Dugas started the epidemic. And so it's kind of an interesting read. I hope this gives you an idea of the content, and I will put the essay prompt up in a couple of minutes.